So this year I went to see an NLP specialist, Carlos Casados, who introduced me to a very powerful Hawaiian spiritual practice called hooponopono. And the reason why I enlisted the help of Carlos is because I wanted to change the data, the thoughts, the beliefs in my subconscious mind, because I was seeing patterns in my life that I did not desire. And I truly believe that we have to shift the thoughts, the beliefs, the data from our subconscious mind, because that's where all of it is hardwired. It's hardwired programming. And so even though we may want to consciously make a change in our life, let's say consciously we want to lose 20 or 30 pounds, unless we have self-worth in our subconscious mind, unless we feel we're deserving to lose that weight in our subconscious mind, because that's where it's all hardwired, then it's very difficult to make that shift, to make that change, because the hardwiring is in the subconscious mind. So Carlos Casados introduced me to this wonderful Hawaiian practice called hooponopono, which is a relationship between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. So one of the main teachers of hooponopono is Dr. Hugh Len, who learned it from his teacher. And to illustrate how powerful this spiritual practice really is that Dr. Hugh Len, using hooponopono meditation, was able to heal a whole ward of insane criminals in a Hawaiian hospital. Literally using this meditation on himself, he was able to heal a whole ward of patients who were like criminals, who are rapists, who are killers. And what he did was he meditated on this hooponopono on himself, and as he was healing himself and connecting to the divine was healing the patients around him. I mean, this is how powerful this hooponopono meditation is, and this is absolutely a true story. And it's very consistent with what the Buddha always said. The Buddha always said, when you change your mind, you change the world. When you heal your own mind, you literally healed the people around you, and by a domino effect, you're really healing the world. And so the Buddha always said, all you need to do is fix your own mind, is to change your mind. You don't need to worry about anybody else, but to heal yourself. And that's what this hooponopono practice is about. It's about when we heal ourselves, we heal all the people around us. So in hooponopono, the practice is essentially the relationship between the conscious mind, what we call the mother, and the subconscious mind, what we call the inner child. And this is the most important relationship, and this is what we're working on in hooponopono. And it is through this relationship that we can connect to the infinite wisdom of God and the divine. And so this is the most important relationship in our lives. This supersedes our relationship with family, with friends. This is the most important relationship. And when we fix this relationship, we're able to fix our lives. So when we're born, when we're created by the divine, or we call God, many of us say God, we're created with these three consciousness levels. The spirit, which is what Dr. Hugh Len calls the super consciousness, or many of us call it the higher consciousness. I talk about the higher consciousness all the time, or the spirit. And this is the broader part of who we are. And then from there is our conscious and our subconscious mind. And so in hooponopono, we're communicating between the conscious, the mother, and the subconscious inner child. We're communicating from here to here in order to communicate with the divine, which is what makes all things possible. So this state is the truth of who we really are, which is pure positive energy of God and love. And Dr. Hugh Len calls it the zero state. In this zero state, we have zero limits in our lives. We have infinite possibilities in our lives because we are now tapping into the divine. And the divine makes all things possible, right? So in this state, we are the truth of who we are. So Dr. Hugh Len says when we are in this state, we are working based on inspiration. So when we have great artists like Leonardo da Vinci or great writers like Rumi or Shakespeare, or great entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs, they're working based on this state, the inspirational state. And we all have this state. There are times when we feel so inspired and we feel like a lightning bulb went in our heads. Well, we're working based on this state. Or when we have that flow, we feel that flow in our lives, we're working based on this inspirational state. So this state is really the truth of who we are, where there's infinite possibilities in our lives. And so after we're born and we start to engage with our parents, and we start to engage with family, friends, and the society at large, we start to work on a different state, and Dr. Hugh Len calls it the memory state. This is the state where we bring in limiting beliefs and limiting thoughts and knowledge, what we call knowledge. And we're really working on based on memory or data or information that we're bringing in. And oftentimes, that memory and data is really influenced by somebody else. It's influenced by the people around us. And so when we have people that come into our experience, whether it's our parents, our friends, our family, or anybody that comes into our experience, in Ho'oponopono, they say the reason why that person has come into your experience is because you're sharing the same memory. You're sharing memory, you're sharing data. So let's say you have anger in yourself. The reason why this person has come into your experience is because this person also has anger. And the reason why they've come in is because you both share anger. Or let's say this person doesn't have self-worth. The reason why this person has come into your experience is because you don't have self-worth. It's called shared memory and data. So all the people that come into our experience, all the events and people that come into our experience, they're coming in because we are sharing the same memory or the same data. And so because we are sharing the same memory and data, we have to take full responsibility for everything that we've created in our lives. Taking full responsibility, because the reason why that experience or that person has come into our life is because we're sharing the same data. We're sharing memories. It's like law of attraction, like attracts like. So it's very consistent with law of attraction, because the reason why that experience or that person has come into your life, because you're sharing the same memory, the same data. And so in Ho'oponopono, what they're saying is, it's not about trying to heal the other person, heal the person outside of you, because it's impossible to heal this person. Because this person has got so much data, so much memory from their ancestors, previous ancestors. They're holding on to so much crap that if you try to heal this other person, it's impossible. The task is too big and you can't do it. So in Ho'oponopono, what they're saying is all you're doing is healing yourself. All you're doing is healing yourself. And by the divine powers of the God, then they're healing you and the other person. So in Ho'oponopono, the way to heal yourself is through what they call the cleaning process. The cleaning process. And in the cleaning process, what is happening is that the mother, the conscious mind, is now asking the inner child, the subconscious mind, to help the mother release all of the memories of pain and suffering. So the conscious mind is asking the subconscious mind to please help me to release all of the memories of suffering and pain. So the relationship is between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. This is where the cleaning is happening. This is where the real work is happening. And so when the mother, the conscious mind, asks the subconscious mind, the inner child, to help me to release the memory of pain and suffering that do not serve me, then the subconscious mind communicates with the higher conscious mind, with the superconscious mind, or what we call the spirit mind. And the spirit, the higher conscious mind, is now communicating with the divine, with God. And you know, and I know, that God could make anything possible. In this realm, it's all infinite possibilities. So then God and the divine releases that memory from you and also releases that shared memory from the other person. And this is how Dr. Hugh Len was able to heal all of the patients, all of the criminals in the insanity hospital, is that he meditated on himself and he healed himself. And by healing himself, he communicated with the divine to help him to clean. And then the divine cleaned and released the memory from the patients in his hospital. So as Dr. Hugh Len was healing himself, he started to heal the other person around him. That's how he healed all of the patients in his hospital. I mean, these patients are rapists, are killers, they're criminals. And so all he did was sit in his office in the hospital, asking his inner child mind to help him to release all the memories of pain and suffering that was in him and that was also in the patients that he was, that he was overseeing. And then his subconscious mind communicated with the higher conscious mind, which then communicated with the divine, with God, and God, who makes all things possible, was then able to release all of the shared memories from him and his patients. And this is how he was able to heal other people in his hospital ward. That's how he was able to heal all of his patients. And so as we release all of these memories, all of this data that do not serve us, we're returning back to our zero state, our inspirational state. And in that inspirational state, we have inspirational ideas. And then we start to have so much flow in our lives where abundance and money, health, relationships really start to come into our lives, because as we start to release all of this memory and data from us that do not serve us, we're returning back to our true state, our inspirational state. So in hooponopono practice, it's not about healing anybody outside of yourself. It's really only about healing yourself. It's never about healing other people outside of yourself. This is really important. It's only ever about healing yourself. So as the Buddha said, when you change your mind, you heal your own mind, you heal the world. So in Ho'oponopono, it's about taking full responsibility for everything that we experience in our lives. And so when that angry person show up in our lives, the reason why that angry person has shown up is because we're sharing the same memory. We're sharing the same anger. Our subconscious mind is holding on to that anger. That's why we've drawn that angry person into our lives. And we're not consciously aware of it. It's in our subconscious mind that is aware of it. So when we have a nasty person that comes into our experience and we don't feel consciously nasty, and we think to ourselves, wow, that person is really nasty, in Ho'oponopono, what they're saying is that you drew that nasty person into your life because you're sharing nastiness in your subconscious mind. You drew that person into your experience. And that's why in Ho'oponopono, you take full responsibility for what you've drawn into your experience, because it's really a projection. So as you have some anger in your subconscious mind, you're now projecting that out into the universe and you're drawing that back into your experience. And so your projection sharing, as I say in this case, this person has come into your life because you're sharing memory, you're sharing anger, you're sharing resentment, you're sharing frustration, you're sharing joy. Whatever the subconscious mind has is holding on to, you're drawing that to you. That's why it's called projection sharing. And so that's why in Ho'oponopono, you take full responsibility for everything in your experience, because essentially you created that by sharing that memory, by sharing that data. And so it's not about taking responsibility to have guilt or to blame yourself. You're taking responsibility to empower yourself to make that change, because in order to make change, we have to acknowledge the responsibility, right? If we don't acknowledge that we've we had some part in the experience, then how can we make the change? So taking the responsibility is to empower ourselves. It's not to blame ourselves. It's not to put guilt on ourselves. It's to empower ourselves. And so the steps by which, in Ho'oponopono, we are able to clean and release this memory, this shared memory from our subconscious mind. And as I said before, it's called the cleaning process. And these are the steps by which we clean that memory and release that memory from us, is by these 5 steps. Step 1, we take full responsibility of our life. Everything that comes into our experience, we take full responsibility. So we acknowledge, I take full responsibility for everything in my life. Step 2, you say, I love you. So now the conscious mind is speaking to the subconscious mind, and the mother is telling the child, I love you. By just saying, I love you, you are immediately connecting to the divine. You're immediately showing repentance. You're immediately saying, I take responsibility. Step 3, you say, I'm sorry. The conscious mind is telling the subconscious mind, the mother is telling the child, I'm sorry. And what are you sorry for? You're sorry because you're saying, as a mother, I didn't take care of you. I didn't pay attention to you. I neglected you. I allowed you to hold on to all these memories of pain and suffering. So that's why you say, I'm sorry. Step 4, please forgive me. The mother is asking the inner child to please forgive me. Please forgive me for not taking care of you. Please forgive me for neglecting you. Please forgive me for allowing you to hold on to all of these memories of pain and suffering. And then finally, step 5, you're thanking. The mother is thanking the inner child because you're asking it to please help me to release all of these memories of pain and suffering that do not serve us. So the inner child is helping the mother. And so therefore, you have to thank it, right? You have to give it gratitude. You have to show appreciation. So these are the 5 steps for the cleaning process. And so you do these steps during the meditation. During the meditations, you go through these 5 steps in order to clean all of the memories that do not serve you, so you could return back to the inspirational 0 state in your life where all things are possible. So I've been practicing this Ho'oponopono meditation every single day, and I'm telling you, it's very powerful stuff. I've been seeing small shifts in my life, shifts in my health, shifts in abundance in relationships. And this stuff really allows you to tap into the truth of who you are, that 0 state where all things are possible. And as you really keep practicing this every day and keep cleaning yourself every single day, the shifts in your life will become bigger and bigger. And I'm telling you, you could really start tapping into your 0 state. So try this practice. For any of you who have done Ho'oponopono, please share your experiences, because your comments, feedback, and experiences really help me and my community at large. And if you like this video, please share it and subscribe to my channel. And if you want to visit all of my spiritual and holistic living tips, just go to my website at yinandyangliving.com. Namaste.